Hey everyone, this is Teacher Aya, your host, and welcome to another episode focusing on the Sustainable Development Goal. In today's episode, we will talk about SDG 8, decent and economic growth. Join me together with Teacher Kisa from Pakistan and Teacher Javier from Dominican Republic in today's conversation as we discuss SDG 8 in their respective countries.
What do you understand by the terms sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth?
Yeah, I personally think what I understand from this is the kind of goals that help you sustain your future. Because, for example, I have this platform, I'm earning money, right?
Yes.
But if I stop, or if I get sick, or if something happens, and if we don't have a health plan, if I have to pay from my pocket, there will come a time when all my savings where I will go in debt, right? Because I never thought about my future. I didn't do anything to have a sustainable life. So these are the goals that basically help you have a better future, that help you come out of poverty, and that help you prevent from going into poverty.
Well said. I think that's also a good lesson to the students. Young students who are watching this video, please study hard and work hard so they can have a better future. All right.
Exactly.
Next question, Teacher Kissa. What do you think are the major problems related to jobs in Pakistan?
Ooh, that's a good question actually, because I will share a fun fact with you. It's not a good fact, but in Pakistan, most of the people that are unemployed are actually the ones who have degree.
What?
Who have a degree. Especially it happened after the pandemic. So many degree holders, they have done their bachelor's, master's. They lost their jobs. So right now, if I tell you, Teacher Aya, the condition in terms of job, they're not so good, which is also the reason why I wanted to start NativeCamp, because I knew, considering the pandemic situation, I knew Pakistan is in a struggling phase. Pakistan is unable to provide jobs. Even though our Prime Minister promised to do so, but then right after he came, COVID also happened, So it's not so good right now. Teenagers are struggling. Young degree holders are struggling. But let's hope for the best. I hope things will get better the next year.
What do you think are the root causes of these problems? Why these people cannot get jobs immediately after graduating?
One thing that I know of is the education system. The market has become so competitive. Everyone is getting a degree. My sister is doing business. I have done masters. So many others have done masters. It's not a big deal for someone to do masters in Pakistan, but the educational institutes, the way they teach, the kind of books they teach, their teaching pattern, all of that matters a lot. There are some universities in Pakistan that are still creating students who get a job even before they graduate. How? They follow a different pattern of teaching. And as compared to the other institutes, they are also doing the same thing. They're also giving them the degree, but their way of teaching is not so good. It's not as good as the other institutes. So one root cause that we need to work on is bettering the education system.
Wow. I hope someone from Pakistan may be watching this video right now.
I hope so.
All right. Now, since we talk about the bad things, let's talk about some of the good things, maybe if there is. Like, what progress has been made towards SDG 8 in your country so far?
Yeah. Actually, when you guys approached me, I also looked into it because it's important to know, right? We should know all the good things also. So Pakistan, this goal 8, decent growth and economic development, I guess. Pakistan is working on this.
Oh, good.
And like I said, that even though it's in a struggling phase, even though our country is struggling to create better job opportunities, it doesn't mean that it's not doing it. It is doing it. So kids are, people who live in the villages, they are trying to strive for better future. So they come to the cities. They go through that struggling period, but then eventually they get it. Eventually they get a job. So it's not like nothing is happening. Pakistan is working on all of that. And also our Prime Minister is coming with a lot of schemes to provide homes to people who are homeless. Because when you are poor, you don't really care about education. You care about feeding your stomach, right?
Yes.
Feeding your kids and your people around you, right? That's what you worry about. So mainly right now, Pakistan is working towards eradicating poverty by giving homeless people homes, by giving them loans.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, let me tell you, in Pakistan, it's not just the government. There are many private organizations. Those private organizations are working, actually, they're doing better than the government. So I know many that provide free food, free shelter, and also some also provide education. There is one that I would like to name here. It's called TCF, the Citizens Foundation.
Wow.
They actually sponsor the whole, like from your elementary school up until your university. They will sponsor it all for legitimately poor people.
Oh.
So there are organizations that are working for it. Yeah.
Now, how can fundamental principles and rights at work and other labor rights be safeguarded and enhanced towards the achievement of SDG 8 in your country?
Yeah.
How can we protect their jobs?
Yeah. So basically, I think if you're really, for example, if I tell you about my dad, he works in a bank, right? But I think corruption is the root cause to create problems.
Yes.
When there are problems, corruption. For example, his bank is struggling right now. That's why I gave you his example. And what's the root cause behind it? It's corruption. So many people lost their jobs. Why? Because some guy did corruption. He earned money. He took a lot of money, but he never returned. So now these workers have to suffer. So if people working at a higher level, people who have authority, rich people, if they exploit the working environment, if they exploit these middle class working people, working class, then it creates a problem for the working class, not for them.
Yes.
So I think government should really, really, really focus on eradicating corruption. If they do that, so many problems will already be solved. So they really only need to focus on that right now. I personally think, especially in Pakistan.
Now let's move on to the next question now. How could we more effectively accelerate progress, not just in your country, but around the world, when it comes to SDG 8?
Yeah. So basically, it all starts from the home. It all starts from how you are brought up. If you are brought up by your parents in a way that you're empathetic, that you can feel yourself in others' shoes, you will eventually become the kind of person who will be helpful. If the rich start helping the poor, it will become a mutual kind of a thing. Because right now, if you see, Teacher Aya, in this world, rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Why is that happening? Because rich people are just getting the money, but poor people, they are not getting anything. I will give you a little example. So there's a village in Pakistan where they make handmade rugs. There are woven rugs and they're handmade. So kids and women, they all wake up in the morning, they work on it. It's such a hard work. And handmade rugs are sold for thousands of dollars. But why are they not getting the money? Why are they not rich? They make those rugs. Who gets all the money? Where did those thousands of dollars go? So I think there's like a barrier between rich and poor. Rich will buy that rug and will pay thousands of dollars. But that money just, I don't know where it goes. It never reaches the needy. If that is all sorted, if poverty is sorted, I think if it all becomes mutual, rich helping poor, poor also, aiding rich in return, then I think it will be a more healthy environment to work in.
Now, do you think we will be able to achieve SDG 8 by the year 2030?
Oh, if I tell you about my country, no, I don't think so. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We are at the very initial stages, but every country is different. There are some countries that are doing really good. Um, some countries are already like way ahead of all of us, right?
Yes.
So for them, yes, maybe by 2025 they will be able to achieve it. But for my country, no.
It's still a long way to go.
Long way to go.
Now, teacher Javier, what do you understand by the terms sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth?
What do I understand by that? Well, I think the word explains itself. It's basically growth that can sustain itself, right?
Yes.
And that can continue on and on. And I think governments, that's what every government is working on, getting sustainable growth and development, economic growth. And that includes having employment for people, where people can make a living, a decent living, and that creates sustainable growth. That's the kind of growth that will last decades ahead. So I think that's what this government is working on as well. my government.
Well said. Now, what do you think are the major problems related to jobs in your country at the moment?
Related to jobs, I think probably it's quite challenging for people to make ends meet with the money they're making. People in general, we always have, every country has a percentage of the population, a small percentage that's making more than they need.
Correct.
And then there's the huge percentage of people that are really struggling. So I think that's the major problem right now too. First, getting enough employment for everybody, and second, making sure that what people are making is enough for them to make a decent living.
All right. Now, what progress has been made towards SDG 8 in your country? What has the government done so far?
Well, this government started right in the middle of the pandemic. It was really challenging. This government is just a little over 1 year old, and since this office started, they've been focusing on boosting the economy again. And one of the ways they're doing it is by creating more trust in foreign investors, to have more people come and invest here, foreign companies. So there are I was reading something that I really liked, and I was experiencing that as well, because sometimes, well, I told you I make some business online sometimes, and it has to do with customs, importing goods from other countries. And the government is focused on doing away with bureaucracy. That in some countries where you want to work there, or you want to start a business there, or you want to import goods into a country, sometimes there's a lot of paperwork.
Correct.
Things that you say, oh, why do I have to do this, or why do I have to wait so long? So it made a lot of paper, talk to somebody, wait for the signature of somebody. So the government is trying to do away with all of that bureaucracy, so that they can give a quick response whenever somebody is inquiring about work here, about starting a business. And something else they're doing is in the industries that we already have, the potential we have. So they're trying to use the potential we have. We are good producers, and we produce almost everything here. The country has a nice weather to produce fruits, vegetables, coffee, tobacco, you name it. All kinds of things we produce here. Even the things that are not produced in a Caribbean island, tropical place, like apples, strawberries, we produce them here. We have a place that is a little cold and we can produce them. So
Amazing. So you don't need to export.
right, exactly. So they're boosting those things that we already have, trying to, incentivize that again so that we can have more work in that areas.
All right, thank you. Now, how do you think, or how important have finance, trade, science and technology, and innovation aspects been for SDG 8 in your country? And how important is it towards achieving SDG 8 in your country?
I think it's the country, the government, since they're seeing how the especially now with the pandemic, how the crisis is being hitting people, it's being hitting the country's economy overall. I think it's one of the main goals to see the growth right now, to see the progress, to see more, because we have an inflation right now. The inflation rate is going high, fuel costs, all of that. But if we see the growth, the economic growth as well, then it's kind of a compensation. Inflation and what the country can produce, people can work. So that's, I think, what the government's focusing on. And I think it's one of their main goals. Because if there's inflation, but people are producing, people are working, we see movement in the economy is moving forward, then we can compensate a little bit. So I think that's one of the main goals. I think is the main target of the government right now.
All right. Now, in regards to this question, it's actually a question that students wants to know. Like, let's say, for example, if you're the leader of your country, what would you do differently to help the economy and the people?
The main thing that I would do differently it's something that has to do with the inside of the government. I would try to change the core of the government from the inside. I would try to change them, the mindset of politicians, because in places like these, in Central American countries and South American countries, politicians sometimes still think about what can I get from it. So they go into government and they're thinking about themselves only. They're not thinking about really making a change for the country in general. So I would try to change that mindset. If we change that, then we would see more work towards the people, towards economic growth, towards helping people instead of helping themselves. So I would try to change that, and like I said, do away with bureaucracy and create as many opportunities as possible for people who are trying to really work in the in the country. And when people work, if somebody starts a business, if you're an entrepreneur, it means you're going to create jobs for other people as well. So I would incentivize that definitely.
Wow, thank you so much, Teacher Javier. Hopefully, not just in your country, but other countries should follow that. We should start from the government. I like that. All right. Now, the last question is, do you think we will be able to achieve SDG 8 by 2030?
2030. We are already in
2021.
Ending.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got 9 years basically for that.
Yes.
I think it's possible. But we need to start working hard and making changes now. I mean, if we don't really take it seriously, it's like the subject of climate change, global warming, emissions, all of that. Sometimes we see a lot of talk, but sometimes we don't see decisive and crucial action.
Correct.
If we make a change now, if we start working really hard on it, it's achievable. Yeah, we can do it. Look at what we did during the pandemic. We are overcoming the pandemic right now, and new vaccines and all of that. So I believe in us. We can do it, but we need to really take it seriously. It's definitely achievable.
Thank you for watching. Once again, this is Teacher Aya, and we hope that you have enjoyed and have learned something from this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to click or tap the like and subscribe button, and please head on to the channel and also watch our other videos about SDG. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, be well, and take care.